two of the items, mainly security, then revenue. We had our discussions, and I want you to please continue in that line.
The governors were at the State House on a courtesy visit. They pledged their loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief. Mr. President, in his response, promised to run an open-door policy.
If we think together and work together, Nigeria of our dream is not far away. Be sure we are not going to have the multiple exchange rate anymore. Let's constantly deliberate, think together, and maintain an open door policy. Get that one clear.
After meeting President Tinubu, the APC governors briefed State House correspondents and defended the decision of government to stop the payment of fuel subsidy. The president's announcement on the withdrawal of fuel subsidy payment caused an instant ripple effect across the country and inconvenienced citizens and motorists who had to spend so much time on queues waiting to get the products. Now President Bola Tinubu wants to leverage on the partnership with the APC governors to explain to Nigerians what his administration seeks to achieve. Already, President Tinubu has made his first set of appointments, an indication that his administration has set the ball rolling and is prepared to take on the task of governance. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
A high court in Makadi, Benue State has affirmed the suspension of Iyorchia Ayu from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and his removal as the party's national chairman. Justice Maurice Ikwambese ruled that Senator Ayu's membership lapsed with his failure to pay his membership and subscription dues. Delivering judgment on the suit, Justice Ikwambese, who is also the Chief Judge of Benue State, said Senator Ayu did not contest his suspension by the Ward Executive Committee of the PDP. Neither did he initiate any suit challenging his suspension. It will be recalled that Justice Kochi earlier issued an interim injunction restraining Ayu from parading himself as the national chairman of the PDP. Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is a member-elect of House of Representatives from Idato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere, on the 10th National Assembly Leadership Battle. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by a member-elect of the House of Representatives from Idato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere, for discussion on the 10th National Assembly Leadership Battle. He's also the spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP. Thank you very much for joining us, Honorable.
So much.
Let me start by congratulating you on your election into the House of Representatives. I know it wasn't an easy journey for you. How do you feel about this victory?
Well, I feel that there's a lot of expectations from the people that I must deliver. So it's kind of mixed reaction because yes, we got victory, but the path to victory was soaked in blood and fire. And that is the part that pains me.
candidates who survived what I call the onslaught of the Labour Party in the Southeast. How did you achieve this victory?
Well, we got very close to the voters and we had one-on-one interaction. A period of 3 years, we tried to reach everybody in all the rural areas, in all the kindreds and community, women gathering, and so on and so forth. And then we had young canvassers between the ages of 18 to 25 that took our message door to door. So we were able to reach over 28,000 people before election day, one-on-one.
So, why was the Labour Party so strong in the Southeast? And was there any time you felt you could lose?
Because it was a movement, we were concerned and worried because it's not just about Labour Party, it's about decades of feeling of marginalization and lack of proper integration and inability of different political parties to keep to their promise to people from the Southeast. So, and also the burning desire to also have a new Nigeria where they will also be included. So they felt they have had enough of the regular promises that comes from regular political parties. Then they wanted a new direction and they went that direction.
All right. So, as the spokesperson of the coalition of united political parties, that's CUPP, and now that you've won election into the federal parliament, will you give up that position?
Yes. In the coming weeks, there will be general meeting of the steering committee, and I will likely be stepping down for my brother, Mike Adeboya, who is the second spokesperson.
All right, then. So, as a lawmaker-elect, what should your constituents in Idato expect from you?
A lot. First of all, we have been cut off from the national grid. We have been in darkness for over 12, 13 years, most of the communities. Communities are now contributing money on their own to try to see how they can get electricity, and that have affected most of the small-scale industries that you used to have in Idato. Most of them are no longer operating because they don't have access to power. Then we'll have road problem and bridge problem. The major road linking us from Olu, connecting Olu to Idato, is no longer there. We'll have to go through a bush path, drive through a bush path for us to get to Ubele, Umuchima, Akoko, and Arondizok. So we don't even have access to good road, even from the Olu end and from the Oga end, where you don't have the road connecting us with Arondizog and Okigwe and so on and so forth. We have water problems, but more importantly, the pressing problem we have is insecurity challenges. The security challenges is so much because of the activities of non-government kidnappers and the clashes between the some of the headers also. So that has made people not to feel safe. Most of the businesses around those areas have closed. Most people have relocated from Idato to neighboring city centers because of lack of, or will I even say, total collapse of security in those areas, especially the Ndimoko end and the Iheme end, going towards Okigwe and Onimo is very, very bad.
All right, so moving from activism to active politics, how challenging has it been for you?
Well, the switch is a bit challenging because at times people expect you to just fight. They expect you to oppose. It doesn't matter how good what is on the table is, they just want you to continue to fight. But I have a huge responsibility because I represent over 250,000 people. And these people expect me to bring home dividends of effective representation and also to be able to make laws that will help in making lives better for them. So I have to draw a line. It's just a thin line between what I used to do as an individual and what I'm going to be doing now as a representative of a people. But that doesn't take away the fact that the primary responsibility of a lawmaker, which is to make law and ensure checks and balances and oversight, also part of the things that is even close to being an activist. You have to stand on the right thing. You have to ensure that government runs in accordance with set down rules.
Fantastic. So let's move to the tussle for the principal positions in the incumbent 10th National Assembly. How will you describe the race so far?
Well, it's been a bit filled with, I don't know how to put it, but kind of challenging. But now everything is getting to be stable now. At the initial stage, when the ruling party came up with a zoning formula, there was argument back and forth, but along the line, most members of the ruling party, especially in the House of Rep, has been able to fall in line with the decision of their party. But it's important you understand that we are not supporting this because the ruling party said so. We are supporting it because of the character and the competence of the candidates that were brought forward.
All right, but Honorable Ikenga, why do you think this race is generating so much heat?
Well, it is because there are people who find it difficult to face reality and stand on the path of truth. The reason why there was some tension was about the zoning formula. But here now, if you say the zoning formula that the ruling party, your party put on the table is not good, the question I will ask you, what is your alternative? Because most people don't want to say the thing the way it is. What some people are doing, which is what is creating this tension, is that you want a race that at the end of the day on June 13, you will have a Muslim president, you will have a Muslim vice president, you will have a Muslim Senate president, you will have a Muslim speaker, you will have a Muslim CJN. And that is not what our nation founding fathers must have envisaged. Inclusiveness and bringing everybody on board is very, very important so that we can achieve stability from which government can effectively function. And I said, okay, for instance, these positions, both the speaker and the Senate president, have been in the North for 16 good years. And then the party said the position should go to South-South, which has never had it for 24 years since our return to democracy in 1999. And I said, the only condition upon which this agitation by these few can be genuine is that you say, okay, I don't agree with what the ruling party said. Let's go to Southeast and take, or let's go to South-South. You can put the speaker in South-South, or you put the Senate president in South-South, or put it in Southeast, the other candidate. But they said no. They want particular candidates from the North to take this position. Then I said, where is your sense of national cohesion and unity? Don't you want other people to be included? You want to take it all? Why not allow it the way it is? And if you don't like it the way it is, why don't make an adjustment? And that is why this whole disagreement, that's where it's coming from. But majority of lawmakers, cut across all political divide, have come to see the need for national stability, cohesion, and inclusiveness. And that is why you see, especially in the House of Representatives, that over 220 lawmakers cut across both the APC, the PDP, the NNPP, APGA, Labour Party, are all supporting Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu for the post of Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
All right, but from your point of view, is zoning bad?
Come again.
I'm asking you, is zoning bad?
No, how can zoning be bad? Zoning offers inclusion. Zoning offers stability. And that is why I said that the founding fathers included it even in the Constitution for federal character, equality, so that everybody will effectively have a seat on the table. There is nothing wrong with that. So that's why I said, even if you don't agree with the zoning formula, what you can do is to bring something that is better than what has been put on the table. But now you want to turn it upside down. You now make it look like there are people that are more superior than others. All of us are equal partners in the Nigerian project. We may not agree with the APC in most of the things they do. But on this particular one that the opposition is not contesting, we said, from what you have done in-house, we have looked at it, especially also in the House of Representatives, and we're okay with it. And we told our brothers who have issues with it that if you say you don't like it, okay, take somebody from Southeast as Senate President or Speaker, or take somebody from South-South as Senate President or Speaker. And they said no, they want to take it to themselves. I said, then this struggle is not rooted in justice, fairness, and inclusion. It's about people's selfish agenda, people who want to capture the parliament. There is no people-driven interest around it, and that is why majority of lawmakers are not supporting that. And most of our colleagues are even thinking with the idea of it is high time we have implement the recommendation of the political conference of 2006 that recommended the principle of rotational presidency and governorship in the executive, both the federal and the state level, to ensure equity and fairness among all partners in the Nigerian project. So zoning, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually part of the reason why you are having serious problem in PDP and other political parties, because people feel if you cannot include them, it means you don't want them. And it's high time we start respecting the feeling of others, that for Nigeria to work, all of us must accept each other and work together for Nigeria to move forward.
All right. So, I mean, this decision of APC to nominate candidates for the 10th National Assembly positions is generating reactions such that some aspirants have refused to drop their bids. How are the opposition parties reacting to this?
Well, for the first time, unlike what we had in 2015, where the opposition was actually involved and negotiated a deal that saw the opposition bringing on board the deputy Senate president, while the ruling party brought the Senate president. That was Saraki and Ekweremadu, because the numbers was not, the ruling party didn't have the numbers to do it alone. In this case, it's not happening. Even though we have slight, when we put PDP, NMPP, APGA, Labour together, the number is huge. But they decided, for whatever reason, that they are not putting a candidate forward, that they are going to choose from what you have in the APC. So as long as the opposition is concerned, majority of the opposition members have already signed up for Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu speakership and deputy speakership already. So there's nothing like you're not going to have a kind of rumble or something. I'm a key figure in the opposition, and I can tell you categorically that majority of the opposition lawmakers have signed up for Tajuddin and Benjamin Kalu. So there's not going to be any kind of division or crisis that is going to create any tension. And most of the candidates that I guess you're talking about the G7, most of the candidates have also, aspirants there, have also started reaching out to Tajuddin Abbas. Eventually, in the coming days, you will see a lot of them stepping down. Almost about 4 or 5 before the last 2-3 weeks have stepped down. Even in the deputy speakership, Professor Julius Iwembre have stepped down for Benjamin, and about 2 others have also stepped down. Adodogo, as you are aware, and other ones have also stepped down for Tajuddin Abbas. And they're also reaching out to the remaining 4 or 5 who are eventually, one has also dropped her bid for speakership as well. So most of them, at the end of the day, are going to the part of national stability and inclusion, and also step down so that we can move forward. What is important that you understand is not about what the APC said, it's about the candidates that is on the table. Their character, their competence, their acceptability is what is selling them to the opposition.
All right, so talking about moving forward, what is the way forward to ensure unanimity?
Well, it's all about engagement, diplomacy, but also continue to expand the conversation, which is currently going on even as we are talking now. There are meetings going on in Asokoro, where some of them are locked up in meeting for them to be able to form a unity, so that when we walk in on June 13, there may not be a contest. It will end up being a consensus, and most of the candidates are also keying in. And for us to achieve that, there will be give and take. Some of these people have also been in this race for a long time. They have reached out to people, they have followers and so on and so forth. There must be a way to also bring them on board, engage them, and also make some concessions that will not hurt the general growth of the parliament and inclusion of other people who have also stood in support of this project. I can tell you that the unity will come. The most important thing is the task that is ahead. You know how the country is drifting towards division, crisis, economic confusions, and so on and so forth. The rate of poverty is growing. Insecurity is everywhere, almost in 28 states in the country. There is urgent need for the parliament to get to business and use the instrument of the parliament to solve compelling national problems that will help to create more jobs, that will create an enabling environment for businesses, especially small-scale businesses, to thrive, that will help to foster the bridge for unity and oneness. And also, more importantly, to make the federation to be truly federal and run efficiently. these things are more important, and this is what the parliament is all about. Because if you remember in 1778, when the revolution happened in France, the coming of the word National Assembly was about this financial crisis, this economic crisis, the people were losing faith in government that led to that revolution that brought about what you have today as National Assembly in 1789. So we don't want this kind of crisis to happen. That is why the parliament, the 10th NAS, is going to get down to business to solve some of these problems.
But some of the lawmakers argued that the APC cannot impose leaders on the National Assembly. How will you react to this?
But they are not imposing on anybody. In the first place, the APC, they are the one bringing the candidates. We are not fielding, especially we in the opposition, are not fielding any candidate, whether as deputy, as speaker. And then they presented Benjamin for deputy speaker and President Tajuddin Abbas for speakership. And then we as opposition lawmakers have looked at the credentials of all the people who are running for speakership. There is no imposition here. I have one vote. My colleagues all have one vote. We are adults. Nobody can force us to do what we don't like. The reason is that why Tajuddin, why are we accepting this? We said, here you have a classroom teacher. You have a lecturer that was a pioneer head of banking and finance in New Bamali Polytechnic in Zaria and head of banking and finance in Kaduna State Polytechnic. Rose to become the general manager of Just Division of British Tobacco Company, and then later on became a member of the House of Representatives. That was in 2015 under 2011 under CPC, 2015 under APC, and 2019 under APC. And then he was House Committee Chairman on Solid Minerals, Deputy Chairman on Legislative Compliance, and the House Committee Chairman on Land Transport, where he helped the Transport Ministry to get the needed legislative support with which we have most of the rail line that is running in Nigeria today. And then you have a man that the primary responsibility of a lawmaker, which is to make law, he has fulfilled it 1,000%. This is the only man today that has sponsored 74 bills. He had 43 in the 8th National Assembly, and then 74 in this 9th Assembly that is end. If you put it together, over 100 and something bills by Tajuddin Abbas. And then 21 of these bills have been signed into law by the president. Same with his deputy, Benjamin Carlo, a lawyer, who has sponsored 43 bills, and over 2 have been signed into law. So are you not going to say, because I'm in opposition, I look at somebody who has not moved one bill, one motion, and I say I will follow him just to prove that I'm in opposition, that I want to oppose? Or should I follow the person that have attended sittings, moved 74 bills, total of 100 and something when you put 8 and 9 together, the session together, and his deputy that has moved over 43 bills? And that is, they understand the intricacies of the lawmaking process. They can effectively preside. You have Benjamin Carlo, who is a lawyer by profession, and most of the job of the deputy speaker is like the administrative head of the parliament, in charge of even the Constitutional Amendment Committee, and he's a lawyer. That makes the job easy. So if somebody can have 74 bills and over 21 have been signed into law, and then you say I should not follow him, I should follow somebody who has not moved one motion, one bill to his name, I don't agree to that, because we cannot continue to overlook the primary responsibility of a legislator and then continue to focus more on running from one ministry to the other. That is not the major work of a lawmaker. It's for you to sit in chamber, make good laws, effectively represent, oversight, and so on and so forth, and speak for your people. So because of that, we agree that his candidature is the best among the people that is running presently. And apart from that, there is something about his humility that you cannot resist. He's accessible. You can call him anytime. He will answer you. And that's what members. I cannot be a lawmaker and I call my colleague and he cannot take my phone call, because we are equals. Every federal constituency is the same, and we are representing a people. So that accessibility is very important for us to be able to deliver on our work. And that, apart from that also, you need to understand that when you put all these people together and you look at their character, their competence, their history, their achievements, there's nobody among them, with all due respect to my colleagues who are running, that is better than Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Carlo. And I have to do this. I have a strong opposition background. But I say, should that, because I'm in opposition, I should not pass on them, ignoring these fantastic qualities and achievements that they have. I have to look at it from a mature angle, and I said, we are going to support them. And we have sat down with them and said, this support does not mean that we are going to be serving dinner at the table of the executive. Any moment you fail in discharging your responsibility as a lawmaker, and then you want to deliver the executive on the dinner plate of the executive, we will have issues with you. But we want a harmonious working relationship with the executive so that we can be able to deliver on what our people need. It's not about fighting. It's about making Nigeria to work. But when people that are in the Nigerian project are not playing in accordance with the rule, the parliament will come in to save the day. But for now, let's have a leadership that can carry everybody along. For the first time in history, 80% of people in different political parties, in NNPP, in Labour Party, in PDP, in YPP, in ADC, are supporting Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. You can see that they are acceptable across all board. It's not even an issue of where you come from or which party you belong to. Among all the people running, majority of the members, over 220 as I speak to you now, have agreed to vote for the duo come June 13.
All right, I've been speaking with Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, member-elect of House of Representatives from Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State. Tonight, we're taking another look at the 10th National Assembly Leadership Battle. Let's take a break and I'll be right back.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to traveling far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And I still have with me member-elect of House of Representatives from Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere. Tonight we're discussing the 10th National Assembly Leadership Battle. All right, Honorable Ikenga, now you've been very open on the issue of zoning, but let me also ask you this. Is there any danger in throwing this contest open as suggested by some aspirants?
But the contest is not closed. If you look at the provision of the Constitution, members shall elect among themselves these presiding officers. I can declare tomorrow to run if I want to. Nobody's stopping me, even though they have a rule that says you must have legislative experience. So the race is not closed. But what we are saying is that majority of us have decided that we're going to vote for Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. And some of the people that are into the race open, are they not the ones who are seeing their billboard from Asokoro to Wuse, even to the airport? Are they not the ones, is the race closed? Are they not the ones that are calling us for meeting? Have anybody stopped them from calling us meeting? They are calling meetings left, right, and some had dinner. I hosted dinner yesterday, some are hosting tomorrow evening. So it's an open contest. You see, that you want to be, you felt maybe you could have been the anointed candidate or the candidate that your party would have put forward and they didn't put you forward, and then suddenly you say, oh, they are blocking us, throw the rest open. Some of the people that are doing this are people who have benefited from this system in the past. We are not even eligible to have been elected into what they are occupying today, but the party in their wisdom zoned and brought them forward. So nobody is stopping anybody from contesting. But we are saying that majority of the lawmakers, over 220 of us, have resolved that we're going to vote for Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. Any other person who wants to challenge them will meet us on the floor of the National Assembly when we go in for inauguration on June 13th. So the rest is open. There's nothing wrong in throwing the rest open. But what we're saying is that because all of us believe in the Nigerian project and want it to work, we are not saying that if you want to run and your aspiration may one way or the other further the lines of division, whether ethnic division or religious division, and make some people have feeling of exclusion, maybe you have to reconsider. And if indeed the reason for this is that you want a competitive race, then you can go to those zones where these positions are zoned and pick alternative candidate, but not to say it must be you as the only condition to show that this is a democratic contest. Because for me, I'm not a religious extremist or somebody who believes that religion should be put forward in government. But I don't think it's nice at this moment of our national development that there is so much suspicion. You saw what happened on the issue of the presidency and the vice. And then you now come now and say, let's go into the National Assembly on June 13 and come up with a result that will show a Muslim president, Muslim vice, Muslim Senate president, Muslim speaker, and Muslim CJN. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is not good for national unity, cohesion, and oneness. That we must go with what is on the table, which has provided an opportunity for inclusion. And if you say the inclusion is not enough, then you can make it more robust, but not to say you are going to take it back to where it has been for 16 years and then shut out those who have not even had it for 24 years.
All right, let me have your view on this. Some analysts are of the view that the race for the Senate presidency is less problematic than the Speaker of House of Representatives. Is this so?
Well, let me start on the Senate in this direction, because I'm somebody that I always have to say it the way it is. Now, you have Akpabio as Senate president, and you have Yari challenging that decision. Then I will ask, of what advantage will it be for Yari to contest against Akpabio and become the Senate president? And I said, in the past, we have all supported the people from the north. For 16 years, they have heard it. And they have heard the speakership for 16 years. And if your party said the position should go to South-South, and you feel is not inclusive enough, what do? You go to South-South and look for another senator. Or you go to Southeast. There's Osita Izunaso. There's Patrick Ndubeze. There's other people who come from those. There's even Oshemole, even though he's a first-timer from South-South. So why do you now say that what they did is not right, but you now want to shift it to go to Northwest, so that at the end of the day, we have all the position, headship of the National Assembly and most of these key positions in the Northwest in particular, that it is not fair. And then we now say that why not respect the zoning formula and allow Akpabio, or choose somebody to contest against Akpabio from those particular zones. I'm just feeling that it is not fair that each time something is given to most of us from Southeast, South-South, most of our brothers from the North feel they can snatch it, from our hands and nothing will happen. South-South have never had Senate presidency for 24 years. So if the party that is not our party said, take it from South-South, if you don't like the person they are proposing, what you do, if you're a man of honesty, transparency, and sense of fairness, is to look for another person from that particular, but not to say we are unworthy of that position. You will take it and give to a particular person. That is the only way there can be peace. Everybody is important in the Nigerian project. The South-South, their environment keeps being destroyed every now and then. They are not complaining. They are making those sacrifices for all of us to be feeding and have this republic to be working. Now they zone the particular position to them, and then you feel that for 24 years they have not occupied it, they are unfit to occupy it till the end of the world. It is not fair. Same with our brothers in the Southeast. This inclusion is very, very important. If not for anything, for us to have a sense of belonging in the Nigerian project. And that this crisis and these divisions you are seeing in the Senate is unnecessary. And I expect that senators are mature people. There is no basis for this. If you say you don't want him, then you look for another candidate from that particular area for the post of Senate president. But not to say you are going to put forward, there's no basis for that if you want inclusion and oneness. And with all due respect, there is nothing Akpabio have that you say Yari will have in essence. So are you saying people from South-South are either the worst people or people that don't have people who have capacity to lead? So I can tell you with all level of confidence that it is personal greed that is driving what is going on, and a decision of a group of people, a clique, that wants to capture the National Assembly and they use it for whatever they want to do with it.
All right. So what do you think will become of the 10th National Assembly if APC failed to manage this well?
Well, we are lawmakers and we have a common agenda, which is to make law, oversight, effectively represent our people. It does not matter. If at the end of the day, people feel they don't want what is on the table and then they upturn it, definitely we'll move forward. That will not be the end of the National Assembly. But we pray and hope that they don't upturn it in the Senate. In the House of Rep is a closed case because you have over 220 of us supporting Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu. So no matter how you do the election on June 13, I can bet here that Benjamin Kalu and Tajuddin Abbas will have a landslide win, if not even consensus, as we get close to June 13.
All right, so let's come to your zone. It's out there that the Southeast is not happy with the decision to exclude the zone from the calculations. Apart from Benjamin Kalu being considered for Deputy Speaker, how would you react to this?
Well, we deserve even the presidency if we want us to start. We for a long time since we returned back to democracy in 1999, even before then, from when Azikiwe was a ceremonial president and Tafawa Balewa had the actual power, when Agi Ironsi tried to form a unitary government before the coup then. We have never had a seat on the top table. And our people are hardworking. Our people believe in the unity of the country. Our people believe in a detribalized Nigeria, and they work night and day to see that Nigeria works. And there's no reason to deny us a top job. So if you want to start this conversation, we'll start even from the presidency that our people want so much. We didn't get the presidency, we didn't get the vice president, we didn't get the Senate president, we didn't get the speaker, we got deputy. That's why I said the deputy will accept, but not enough. We want more. But we hold the one they have given. And anybody that doesn't agree with it must be giving us something higher. Maybe you give us Senate president or you're going to give us speaker. But this one that are giving, we hold this one while we keep advocating for more. Even if we don't get in parliament, we should be giving more in other principal positions in government, grade A ministries and grade A security agencies and so on and so forth, and grade A ambassadorial postings and grade A ministries that our people will be expecting that will be included. And not just only that, including us in government and resolving the tension in our land, as it has to do with the agitation for equity, justice, and fairness is also important to be able to make the government to move forward.
So is Orji Uzor Kalu and Osita Ezeonu still in the race for the Senate presidency?
Well, I've not had any news to the contrary, even though I'm not actively involved in what is happening in the Senate. I'm more involved in what is happening in the House of Representatives, where I'm a lawmaker-elect.
So, all right. So, if APC plan scales through, what do you think can be done to compensate the Southeast?
Well, like I said before, it's not just only the parliamentary position. Even in the setting up of committees, we must have top positions in grade A committees, both in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. And not only that, there is ministerial appointment that is coming. There is grade A ministries like energy, power, petroleum, finance, and so agriculture, and so on and so forth. You must find a way to include us in strategic positions when assigning portfolios to the ministers. And then there's powerful organizations. You know, you have NIMASA, you have MPA, you have Sovereign Wealth Fund, you have customs, you have different strategic positions that we should also be given a share of these positions. And then in terms of headship of security agencies, let's not make the mistake our former President Muhammad Buhari did, having all the positions domiciled in the north. That is not good, especially when we have fine officers from the east and south in those services. So it's important that we also have a seat on the top security position in the country, that these things help to inspire confidence, it helps to inspire inclusion, that this will help to bring our people on board. And more importantly, even though in the coming weeks I'll make my broadcast to the President to ask him that it's time for national healing, especially on the Southeast issue, Nnamdi Kanu issue. We have a court judgment that have now said that the government should release him and have quashed the charges. I think as part of the step needed in this national healing that the President talked about in his broadcast, it's very important that we release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and then get back to the negotiation table so that we can be able to resolve most of these issues. Some of these issues can be resolved, some of them in restructuring, some of them in mainly restructuring and devolution of powers can help to give more opportunity for our people on the table and be able to address some of the grievances that made some of our people feel they were not included that led to those agitations. So I will be using this opportunity also to appeal to the President and the Commander-in-Chief, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to consider as part of the first step in his national healing and reconciliation that he promised, that he release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from detention and then convene a national, Southeast National Engagement Roundtable to resolve all the issues that led to the agitation.
All right. So I know you said that things are gradually getting stabilized, but what do you think President Tinubu should do at this stage to douse the tension?
Like I said, first actions, they matter very, very well. Even what you say, like you remember when President Muhammad Buhari said 5% and 95%, and people started seeing him from that angle. You know, decisions that we made, I saw the appointments today, were very okay in the balancing. Now, every appointment that you are going to make, don't think that it doesn't matter. It matters. Nigerian people are very sensitive to these issues. Ensure that every part of the country is given a seat on the table. That's the first stage. Then, in certain of project, let what happened last time. Remember when over $23 billion or more was borrowed and no project was cited in the Southeast and most part of the South-South. Those things does not foster inclusion and spirit of oneness and cohesion. So every step you're going to take, inclusion is very important. Then national healing is very important. We don't even need to enchant anybody. Let's close the book and move forward. Let the investigative agencies do their work, but let the executive focus on building bridges of unity, building bridges of cohesion and oneness, and ensuring that merit is also put on forward in appointments that are going to make. Don't consider people because of the level of support they gave to you. You can find them other jobs, but strategic positions should be given to the people who have the requisite knowledge for them. And all these things, when you do them, and then you govern with the way your oath of office to treat everybody fair and equitable, I think that it will help to reduce tension. More importantly, the president has to remember the things he used to say, either when he was in NEDECO or when he was in the opposition, about the need for restructuring. We have talked so much about the restructuring. You saw how former President Buhari played us wayo on it, set up an Erufai committee. We didn't see anything about that report, different reports, the committees that were set up. That is very important, that there are certain things people keep running away, discussing the issue of this, making Nigeria to be truly a federal state, making the devolution of powers, and so on and so forth. These things are very important. If we keep running away from it, it will not work. Cost of running government, we have to find a way to reduce it. We must find a way to restructure the country, whether it's health reform, political reform, economic reform, the issue of the tax, the mining right. And let me even commend the 9th National Assembly led by Speaker Femi Bajamamila, especially on the issue of starting the restructuring from the angle of devolution of power. You can see one of the laws that were signed, one of the bills that was signed into law by the president has to do with the issue of railways. Now states can build their own rail system, and this is something that we have been asking for over time. There's no way everybody will keep waiting for federal government. Now somebody can build a rail line from Onitsha to Nnewi and to Oka, and another person can build from Owerri to Olu or somewhere. These are things that will increase economic activities and transportations in the states. And some states can come together and build it and connect it together. And you saw the innovation on power generation. We've been asking this for a very long time. So it's a good thing that is now one of the things that were signed last minute before he left office, that states can also generate their own power in areas that are not also connected to the national grid. That means you can go to a place like Nnewi and build a mini power plant and sell your power to the people around those areas. So, but we want more so that we can make the Nigerian Federation to work. We have to find a way, health reform. There's no business with federal government getting involved in primary health care. These are things that should be left for the local government system. And also it's important that the new government finds a way to ensure that we have LG autonomy. You can see that governors has pocketed the local government like a wallet. They use it the way they like. This is not what local government used to be when we were growing up. Local government was very, very effective in terms of leadership growth, in terms of economic development and small-scale business encouragement, health, and so on and so forth. We have to find a way to restore back the independence of the local government system, both in their election, both in their finances, and so on and so forth. These things are very, very important. It will jumpstart the economy and ensure that the drift you are seeing from the rural area to the city center will stop, because people will now be engaged in those rural areas. So we have to look at that. We have to even look at power rotation, so that we can rotate power between north and south, so that we can remove the instability and the division and the rhetoric of war that comes with every 4 years that will go to election, so that power can rotate between both zones, the six geographical zones in the country, and even in the senatorial zones. So that the energy will waste in one senatorial zone trying to dominate the other over 24 years or 25 years, we can stop all those kind of things and treat each other as one in the Nigerian project. That restructuring is very important. It will be the lasting formula for stability.
All right. As it stands, the opposition has tremendous numbers in the National Assembly this time around. What are the implications of this? I mean, I ask this question because it is often said that the 9th National Assembly was a rubber stamp. Do you agree it pandered too much to the executive? Two questions in one.
Well, I think it's victory for democracy, because Parliament has all been about the people. Now that you have equality in numbers, what I mean by that is that the APC cannot have 2/3 any longer to be able to push anything in the House of Representatives. What does that tell you? There will be engagement, there will be collaboration, there will be understanding, give and take, for us to be able to arrive on key issues that require a 2/3 resolution before it can pass. So I don't think it will affect governance. It's all about intention. If the intention of the APC is to make the country to work, and we see that intention on the table, and we can see clearly through it, definitely we'll give our support. But if we feel that that intention is not for the glory of the country, then we'll use our simple majority, what we call the greater minority advantage, to forestall such a move. So it will not destabilize governance. But if there is collaboration, if there is working, you can see what is happening in the U.S. Congress. If there is collaboration, if there is working together, definitely it will not affect governance. It will all be to the glory of the Nigerian people.
All right, so in less than 1 minute, a new administration is in place in the country. How will you advise the president to turn things around?
I have said it before. I said the first steps matters, inclusion and merits. People that will be appointed into position of authority must have merit, especially statutory agencies that have impact to bear on our lives. And more importantly, people that have merit and capacity, both in the security agencies. And I also say that every zone must be given a seat on the table so that everybody can be carried along. And national healing and reconciliation is very important, especially in the Southeast. We must find a way to bring everybody to come to the table, discuss all the issues, starting with the release of Mazin Nandekano as we go into the peace discussion that will bring lasting peace. And also I said restructuring is also very important to make the Nigerian Federation to work efficiently. There must be economic restructuring, there must be political restructuring, there must be health, all sorts of reforms must be carried. And the revenue generation issue will be discussed, and how to make states independent and be able to generate their revenues. So that if states are working, if local governments are working, most of the things you see that is causing problem in Nigeria will not be happening. There will be economic empowerment. So that's why it's important, both mining rights. Government over time, tries to shy away from some of these things because of politics. But it's important that the new administration should develop the boldness that is required to confront those age-long issues that divide us, age-long issues that retard our development, rooted in the need for restructuring, inclusion, justice, equity, and fairness, and merit on the table. And I can tell you that Nigeria can still work.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, member-elect of House of Representatives from Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State. Tonight, we looked at the 10th National Assembly Leadership Battle. Thank you very much for coming on Politics Tonight, and I look forward to more conversation with you, and congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. I'll see you on Monday.
Greasy and smelly braids can be a thing of the past. Introducing the new Ruba braids from Expression. Made with 100% Aquatex fiber from Canicolon. The new Ruwa braids from Expression is extremely fast drying and perfect for friction-free washing. Stay dry this season with the new Ruwa braids from Expression, now available in pre-stretch and regular braid variants and in beauty shops near you.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone, your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow fits perfectly the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use two together for full leg alignment. Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated, so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made up of soft memory foam, so it never loses its shape and the cover is machine washable. The Contour Legacy Pillow is now available in Nigeria.